Today, I'm gonna go over the top 10 Seattle suburbs that people are moving to. These are 10 areas with the highest percentage increase in population over the last 4 years. Now, a couple of these are probably gonna be pretty surprising, so make sure you stay tuned to the end. I'm gonna run through the list from number 10 to number 1. I'm gonna give you some reasons why people are moving to these areas, what the actual rate of expansion and the increase in population is in these areas, and what the cost of real estate is in these suburbs. I'm hoping this video will be helpful for you if you're trying to figure out where the best place for you to move might be, whether you're relocating here from out of state and trying to figure out what the best options are, or you already live local and are looking to buy a home in a different city. Hopefully this will help you make your decision on a place that might be great for you to be. As always, I'm Bryce Greenleaf, local real estate broker in the Seattle area. Love helping you guys out. So if you are relocating over here and looking to buy a home, or if you already live in the Seattle area looking to buy or sell real estate, I always love helping you out. Feel free to reach out to me. My info is down below. Let's jump in and let's start off with number 10 on the list here, and this is Marysville. So Marysville is a suburb north of Seattle. It has recently had a population increase of 3.63% over the last 4 years since 2020. This is just under 2,600 new residents here in that time frame. Now, the median home price here in Marysville is about $670,000. Currently, there are about 111 homes active on the market today when I'm filming this video. At the low end, you can get a home like this for about $400,000, and on the high end, there's a home like this for about $1.3 million. Now, Marysville is in a location that's at the top of the Seattle metropolitan area. It is somewhat commutable for some people. It depends how far you're commuting, how many days, things like that. There are people that live in Marysville that will commute down to Seattle and Bellevue maybe 2 or 3 days a week, and that's really the limit of where they're pushing it. If you live in Marysville and you have to commute down to Seattle or Bellevue 5 days a week, it's pretty difficult, and there's a lot of people that are not willing to make that extra step to go up there with a 5-day commute. But Marysville has really grown in the last 5 to 10 years because it was a much more affordable place to buy a home, especially here in Snohomish County. A lot of people want to live north of Seattle and Bellevue in Snohomish County, and when you're in the cities further south like a Bothell or an Edmonds or a Mill Creek, something like that, it is quite a bit more expensive. And so people would come up here to Marysville to get a lot more home for their money. There's been a lot of new construction communities built here in Marysville over the last 5 to 10 years, and it continues to be one of the top cities in the Seattle metropolitan area for new construction communities to be being built. Right now on the southeast side of Marysville, there's a neighborhood called Soper Hill, and here in Soper Hill, there's 4 different communities currently being built in right now with builders like Century Communities, Mainview Homes, and KB Homes, where they have all these new construction homes priced anywhere from $700,000 to just over $1 million. That has been the big driving force of the expansion and the growth of Marysville, is people looking for more affordable housing. All right, number 9 on this list is a neighbor of Marysville. This is Lake Stevens. Now, Lake Stevens has had a population increase of 4.78% in the last 4 years. This is just under 1,900 new people that have moved to Lake Stevens. Lake Stevens has a median home price of about $755,000. Currently, today, there's 83 homes on the market with a low of a home like this for about $515,000, or you can find a home like this with potentially a water view for $3.8 million. Now, a big reason that Lake Stevens has again grown a lot over the last 5 to 10 plus years, there's a couple reasons for it. One, it is for that affordable housing like we talked about with Marysville. Now, Lake Stevens is a little bit more expensive than Marysville is, and there's a big reason that people really shift their focus when they go to the north side of Snohomish County. They really shift their focus on Lake Stevens, and it's because they want to be in that Lake Stevens school district. So that has been a big driving factor for the reason that people are coming up to this city. Now, along with that, Lake Stevens is a very pleasant area to live. You have the lake right in the middle of the city, so it provides great recreation opportunities, especially in the warmer months here in the summer, where you can go out and go swimming, take your kids to the park right on the lake there. They have all sorts of community events on these parks right around the lake. You can take out the boat and go fishing, kayaking, wakeboarding, tubing, all that kind of stuff. It really provides a great fun environment here in Lake Stevens. It's a very community-centric environment. There's just a lot of stuff going on here with community activities in Lake Stevens, and people really, really love living here. All right, number 8 on this list here, we're going a little bit further south. This is Bothell. Now, Bothell has had an increase in population over the last 4 years by 5.66%. This is just over 2,700 new people. Now, the median home price here in Bothell is about $1.125 million. Currently, there's about 113 active homes on the market right now. You can find something on the low end like this for $775,000, or you could find something on the higher end like this for about $2.5 million. Now, Bothell has grown for a little bit different reason than these places up north. Bothell is a very, very commutable area. Here in Bothell, you're really close to the I-5, I-405 interchange where the two freeways connect. So whether you need to go down on the west side down to Seattle or on the east side down closer to Redmond or Bellevue, it is a very, very nice place for commuters because of that. There is a lot of, especially east side tech workers, people taking jobs at Microsoft or TikTok or Amazon or GoDaddy, any of these companies here on the east side that have moved into Bothell because they can get a lot more for their money in Bothell than they can in Redmond or Bellevue, and it's still a distance where they can drive 5 days a week into the office if they need to. Bothell has also had quite a bit of new construction over the last decade or two because they've had to meet this demand of so many tech workers moving over here from out of state, and Bothell being one of the largest hotspots for those relocation buyers. Now, of course, it's more expensive because of that. It's over $1.1 million for that median price point because it is a location where you can commute to a higher paying job on the east side or in Seattle 5 days a week if you needed to. It's got a great revitalized downtown area, which makes it nice for people to visit as well, grab a bite to eat, and just hang out on a nice day. All right, city number 7 on this list is Shoreline. Now, Shoreline might be a little bit surprising to you that it's on this list. It's had a population increase in the last 4 years by 5.75%. This is just under 3,400 new residents here in Shoreline. Now, the median home price in Shoreline right now is about $910,000. Currently, there's about 73 homes on the market. You can find something like this on the low end for about $530,000, or something like this on the high end with a great Puget Sound view for just under $9 million. Now, the reason Shoreline continues to expand and continues to have more people moving to is for those people that don't want to live in Seattle proper, but they need to commute to downtown Seattle every single day for work. Shoreline is a really, really good location for that. It might be the best location. If you don't want to be right in Seattle proper, but you have to commute to downtown Seattle every day for work, Seattle's probably location number 1 that you might want to consider for that. It does have the light rail now. Just within 5 days ago, previous to when I'm filming this video, they just activated the new light rail stations. There's 4 new stations that have been activated going north, 2 of them in Shoreline, 1 in Mount Lake Terrace, 1 in Lynwood. So this is continuing to bring more public transportation further and further north outside of Seattle. So having these 2 light rail stations in Shoreline is certainly going to help and continue that expansion, because now people don't have to rely on a car to get downtown to Seattle or the airport or anywhere down south where they might be working. They can just jump on that light rail and not have to worry about commuting and parking and all of that hassle. So that's only going to help Shoreline expand and grow even further. All right, number 6 on the list here, we're going even further south. This is going to be Gig Harbor. Now, Gig Harbor has had a population increase of 5.81% over the last 4 years. This is 702 new people. The median home price here in Gig Harbor is $890,000. 161 homes are currently on the market. You can find something like this on the low end for about $420,000, or something like this on the high end for about $6 million. Now, the great thing about Gig Harbor is one of my absolute favorite Seattle suburbs in this entire Seattle metropolitan area, and it's a very pleasant place to live. The reason Gig Harbor hasn't gotten even more expensive and more crazy with expansion is because it's not very commutable to Seattle or Bellevue for work. If you work in one of those locations and you have to drive to work more than 1 or 2 days a week, I would not live over here. I don't even know if I'd live over here if you even have to commute just 1 or 2 days a week. That's a bad commute commute going down Gig Harbor through Tacoma and then up I-5 and or 405 to get to Seattle or Bellevue. It is not a fun commute. It is pretty difficult. And so most people don't want to do that commute to work. So it's kept those prices a little bit lower than they would be otherwise. Gig Harbor is one of the most beautiful cities in this entire, Western Washington. It's got gorgeous views of the water there. You can check out downtown by the marina here, and it's just absolutely beautiful on a nice sunny day. They've got a wide variety of the types of properties as well. There's not a ton of new construction around here. There's some one-off properties here and there, but there's not big sprawling massive communities of new homes for the most part. But you've got some more historic older homes close to downtown that are very walkable to downtown. As you go further out, there's a lot of acreage properties that will give you 1 acre, 5 acres, 10 acres if that's something you're looking for. There's water view homes. There's your typical suburbia homes on 8,000, 12,000 square foot lots. They've got a lot of different options for real estate over here. So there's a lot of people that move over here that are either retired and they want to come somewhere that's really beautiful to live with a little bit better home prices. There's also a lot of people that work remote over here, and there's a lot of people that maybe work further on the south side over here where a commute is doable. But Gig Harbor is one of those places that if it wasn't so far out of the way from Seattle and Bellevue, it would have blown up like crazy. But that distance is keeping it a little bit quieter and a little bit tamer, even though that's starting to rapidly change. A lot of my out-of-state clients focus on Gig Harbor and end up wanting to move there. All right, number 5 on the list here, on the complete opposite end, we're going way up north. We're gonna go to Arlington. Now, Arlington has had a population increase of about 7.74% over the last 4 years. This is just over 1,500 people. Now, the median home price in Arlington is about $651,000 right now. Currently, there's 70 homes active on the market. You can find something like this on the low end for $385,000 or something like this on the high end for $2.3 million. Now, Arlington's another one of those spots. We talked about Lake Stevens and Marysville earlier on this video, which are just south of Arlington. This is an area people come for more affordable housing. Now, as you get past Marysville and you get into Arlington, that commute's getting more and more difficult. So if you're somebody that works in Seattle or Bellevue and you have to commute 1 or 2 days a week, Arlington could be a possibility for you, potentially, depending how much traffic you want to put up with. There are people that do that. I would not commute 5 days a week from Arlington to Seattle or Bellevue. That's really where the line should be drawn there, and you're probably going to be pretty miserable in life if you'd have to drive that commute 5 days a week. But for people that work remote, people that work on the north side, or maybe people that have a 1 to 2 day a week commute, Arlington can be a very pleasant place to live. It is the most affordable suburb on this list, and it has some really nice features to it. When people think of Arlington, they think of a more rural country type town, though it has developed quite a bit over the years. On the south side, they have Smoky Point with all of your shopping like Costco and Target and your doctor's offices and everything like that. You're super convenient to everything in Arlington. As you get further north, you have historic downtown, which is a great little downtown area with restaurants and shops and whatnot. They have community events all throughout the year. When we talked about Lake Stevens previously and how community-centric Lake Stevens was with all these events and getting families together, Arlington does a very similar thing. It's very, very community-centric. They've got a lot of great parks around the area as well. As you start to get further out in Arlington, there's a lot of rural property, so people will often come out here when they want more space. They want acreage, they want more privacy, and just more land in general. There's a lot of that. It's one of the best places to find rural properties, or what I like to call semi-rural, because sometimes when you say rural, people think you're living off the grid. That's not at all the case here. You can live rural, 5, 10, 15, 20 acres here in Arlington and be 10, 15 minutes away from the store. So semi-rural properties are abundant here in Arlington. All right, city number 4 on the list here is Duvall. Now, Duvall has had a population increase of 7.82% in the last 4 years. This is only 629 new residents in the last 4 years. The median home price here in Duvall is $985,000. There's about 36 homes currently available. On the low end, you can find something like this for $735,000, or on the high end, you can find something like this for $1.8 million. Now, the reason that Duvall has grown quite a bit, and you see that number, it's increased almost 8% on their population, and that's only 630 people. Duvall is a much smaller area and has really just recently started to attract new people. The reason for that is Duvall is an area, kind of like we talked about with Arlington before, where you can get a lot of semi-rural properties where you can get acreage properties. But in this case with Duvall, you can commute to the east side for work. So if you work in Redmond or Bellevue at, something like Microsoft, you can commute back and forth. There's plenty of people that make that commute 5 days a week from Duvall to the east side. So it is a bit more convenient for that. And that's the reason the home prices are higher, closer to $1 million for those median prices. They have a little historic downtown, and it's a cool little community for sure. All right, number 3 on this list is Redmond. So Redmond has had an increase in population of about 12.5% over the last 4 years. This is just over 9,200 new people since 2020. The median home price here in Redmond is just under $1.6 million. Currently, there's 81 homes on the market. You can find something like this on the low end for $765,000, or something like this on the high end for about $6 million. Now, Redmond, most of you probably know about Redmond if you've done your research on this area. Redmond is, you're right near Microsoft headquarters and all these tech jobs on the east side. So that's why the median home prices are close to $1.6 million, because you're close to the highest paying jobs in the state of Washington. And that is, of course, by far the biggest reason that the population has increased by 9,200 people in 4 years, because so many people relocate here from out of state and take a tech job, and they end up coming to Redmond because they can commute to work 5 days a week, or maybe they don't even commute, they just want to be in Redmond because living on the east side is very pleasant, very clean cities, very well maintained, super convenient to everything around. You can still get a little bit further east to all the outdoor activities. And so Redmond is definitely one of the most pleasant places, most pleasant suburbs in the Seattle metropolitan area. If you're looking for something with convenient location in terms of commuting and whatnot, and you're looking for something that's well maintained, clean, a lot of nice neighborhoods, there's luxury homes, there's tract home communities, there's a lot of different stuff here in Redmond. All right, city number 2 on the list here, this is Lynwood. Now, Lynwood has had an increase in population by 18.4% in the last 4 years. This is just over 7,000 new people. Now, the median home price in Lynwood is about $775,000. In Lynwood, there's about 104 homes currently on the market. You can find something like this on the low end for about $590,000, or something like this on the high end for $2.4 million. Now, Lynwood has become really popular again because of commuting and proximity to get to jobs. So we've talked about this a lot with places like Shoreline and Bothell. Lynwood is just north of both Shoreline and Bothell, so it's still commutable to Seattle if you need to go to work 5 days a week. It's still commutable to Bellevue if you need to go to work 5 days a week. Again, like I said with Bothell, you're right by the I-5 and I-405 interchange, so it's easy to get to either Seattle or Bellevue, especially if you have a split household, 2 spouses, one works in Seattle, one works in Bellevue. Lynwood is a pretty convenient location because you can each get from your house and get onto the freeway that you need and go that direction without somebody having to go in the opposite direction. Now, Lynwood also has one of these new light rail stations that just got activated this week, so again, commuting down to Seattle is going to get even easier. If you want to take public transportation, that is going to be an option for you now, where you can just go to the light rail station, park, and take the train down to work, or take it down to the airport, wherever you might be going down south. Relative to some of the cities around it, Lynwood's median home price $775,000 is a bit cheaper. It's cheaper than Edmonds to the west side. It's cheaper than Shoreline to the south. It's cheaper than Bothell to the east. And so a lot of people settle in Lynwood because they can get a little bit more for their money than some of the immediate surrounding cities. All right, we are to number 1, the last one on the list here. Now, this is Black Diamond. Now, Black Diamond has had an increase in population by 48% in the last 4 years. This represents about 2,300 new people. The median home price in Black Diamond is about $773,000. There's currently 50 homes on the market. You can find something like this on the low end for about $495,000, or you can find something like this on the high end for about $2.1 million. Now, you may say 48% increase in population in 4 years. That's absolutely insane, and it is. There's one reason for that, and one reason only. That is called 10 Trails. So 10 Trails is this new construction community. Around here in the Seattle area, we don't have a ton of like true master plan communities with multiple different builders in there. Those are few and far between, but 10 Trails is one of two. There's really two really large master plan communities here in Seattle Metropolitan. 10 Trails is one of those. So it has drawn a ton of people down there that want to have a new construction home, that want to live in a community that's much more tight-knit. You know, all these homes are smaller lot sizes, your typical traditional new construction master plan communities that you see. But there's parks everywhere throughout. There's a ton of community events. They're just very friendly and active neighborhoods here. And so that's the major reason why Black Diamond has really blown up recently. Black Diamond, when I was growing up around here, you never even heard of it. There was nothing down there. Hardly anybody lived down there. You can see, you know, 2,300 new people moving in 4 years is about half of their population. So it was not a big place to begin with and has only grown since then. They're trying to put in new infrastructure with schools and grocery stores and whatnot to help support all of this. But that has been the most popular suburb, especially for a lot of out-of-state people that want to focus on brand new construction homes. Now, in terms of commuting Black Diamond to Seattle or Bellevue, this is another one of those places where if you're going 1, 2, maybe 3 days a week, it could be doable. The traffic is not easy. I would not commute 5 days a week. There are people that do, so you've got to evaluate how much you're willing to put up with when it comes to traffic and commute times, but it's definitely on that edge of being able to commute a couple of days a week. All right, well, that wraps it up. Hopefully this was helpful for you to try and figure out some of the most popular suburbs in the Seattle area. So if you're trying to figure out the right place for you to move, maybe one of these places is the right fit for you. If you have further questions on these areas or really want to dissect further where the right spot might be for you to move to, especially if you're coming here from out of state, I'd be more than happy to help you with that process. Feel free to reach out to me at my info below, and I would be happy to chat with you. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you on the next one.